right? The midpoint of a line segment. Let's draw with the red. Give me my red marker. Oh, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with this? Boom. Right, so we'll move to midpoint of a line segment. Suppose we have a point M as the midpoint of a straight line. Midpoint means a point in the middle of 2 points, right? So if I have a line which is made of 2 points A and B, the midpoint of this line is the point that is in the center of these two lines. So here my C becomes my midpoint. And then here we'll learn that to get the coordinate of C, which is the midpoint, so let's assume the coordinates of this midpoint are ym and then xm and ym. And then that of A are x1, y1, and that's of B are x2, y2. And then we can find C, which is the midpoint, right? So xm is given by x1 plus x2 over 2. Then ym is given by y1 plus y2 over 2. How do we get these equations or formulas or whatever it is? Right. So they are just averages of the points, right? We sum the x values, and then we divide it by 2 because we're finding the average, because we have 1 and 2. So we sum this and then this divide by 2. We sum a y and then the y is 2, then we divide by 2. Right. So that's how we find the midpoint. If we just sum them, the corresponding coordinates, and then we halve them. So making it simple, midpoints will be given by half of x1 plus y1 x2, right, comma. So this is the x value of the midpoint, and then half x, sorry, that's y1 yes, that's y1, right? So this will be the formula for midpoint. So to find the midpoint, we'll be using these formulas. So we'll have to write it in our notes, and then we'll try to memorize it. So it's just a sum of the average, and no, an average of the corresponding coordinates, right? So let's take our first example on midpoint. So this is the formula we deduced right here. So you can maybe highlight in your notes in your textbook, right? So let's see. In our first example, if C is this, if C is 1, 3 and D is 5, 7 are 2 points, find the coordinate of point B, which is the midpoint of CD, right? So CD is a line. We want to find the midpoint of line CD. How do we find the midpoint? We know the formula for midpoint. We just add xx, we divide by 2, let's add yy, we divide by 2. So let's see, midpoint of CD. So that's B, because here we see, here the question makes us aware that the midpoint is B. So B is equal to half x1, y1, sorry, half, no way, right, plus x2, right, and then the y value of B will be given by y1 plus y2. So y1 plus y2. Right, so let's calculate this. We'll have half of, what's x1? Looking at C here, x1 is 1, right? We could also choose 5 out of x1. It doesn't matter because it's addition. So 1 plus x2 is 5 from D. Then half of y1, which is 3, right here. then y2, which is 7. So when we simplify this, half of 6 is 3, then half of 7 is 5. So b is 3, 5. Right from here. If you don't understand why we have x1, x2, y1, y2, we just choose to call them x1 and x2. You can call them anything, but because we want to make it very easy to memorize and understand and go with, we make it x1 and x2. So x1 goes for the c, so x1, x2, then the next one will be y1, y2, right? x2, y2, because every point has x and y, right? So yes, that's how we deduce it. In the next question, there is a midpoint of AB. We want to find the midpoint of AB. So it's the same thing. It will be -3 plus 7, which will give us 4. Right? So we'll have 4. That will give us a 2. And then 1 and 3 will sum up. That's also 4. So half of 4, that's also 2. So the point becomes 2, 2. So it's very simple. So you can try that one. Then this one too. The M is the midpoint of JK. If the coordinate of J is this and M is this, find the right. So this is an exceptional example, right? But it's also very simple. Let's see how we do it. M is the midpoint of JK. So we have M, a point M. It is the midpoint of JK. And then we're giving its coordinates to be -1, 1. And then J is -5, 4. And then we'll be asked to find the coordinates of K. So because we don't know the coordinates of K, we choose, right? I am choosing to use X and then Y to represent the coordinate of K. You can use any variable, right? Mostly mathematics, we use X and Y because they are easier to work with, right? So I choose to use X and Y. You can choose any variable you want, any alphabet you want. Right, so K, the value coordinates of K are X and Y. Now, let's find K. How are we going to find K? The same midpoint formula. Don't forget, we are still doing midpoint. You know midpoint, M, 2, -2, 1. Formula for midpoint is half. Then we sum up these two, right? Don't forget, we always sum these X value. We always sum up the corresponding X values. So this is X, this plus this X, right? Divided by 2. Yeah, so let's see that. So we'll have -5 plus X, right? That's times half, that's divided by 2. And then the Y values too, we'll find them by summing up the corresponding Y values and then halving it, right? So we'll multiply by half. That will give us half times 4 plus Y. So let me simple. This is simple, right? So now looking at this equation, we can compare some parts of the equation. You know that this whole thing here corresponds to the X of M, because M is the midpoint. So this whole expression here is the X value, so it corresponds to this. That means we can get one equation from here. -2 is equal to half, is equal to this whole expression here. So let's get that expression down. -2 is equal to half -5 plus X. We can use basic algebra to find what X is. So I multiply 2 by 2 to get rid of this fraction. So I get -4 is equal to half times 2 multiplying -5 plus X. I get rid of the X. So -4 is equal to -5 plus 2 plus X. That's -5 plus X. So X is equal to -4 plus 5. That gives us 1. So X is equal to 1, right? Now let's find Y. Same way this corresponded to this. this y value, right, also corresponds to the whole y expression here. That means that 1 is equal to half of 4 plus y. Let me change the color because red isn't very clear. Red isn't very clear because the contrast between the background doesn't really stand out. But green and then yellow are cool. So if I want to find y, I have to get rid of this fraction. I'll multiply 2 through the whole equation to get rid of 2, and then we'll have the simplified expression to be 4 plus y. So y becomes equal to 2 minus 4, which is minus 2. So x, so in the end we get our k, putting x here, right? So put this x in here, and then we'll put this y also in here. So the values of k, the coordinates of k are 1 and minus 2. It's not very difficult. It's just understanding the concept of midpoints. Midpoints are always gotten by adding x and then x of the 2 points, and then we divide by 2. So we add the x of 1 point and then the x of the other point, and then we divide by 2. That's when we multiply half. We add the x y of 1 point, the y of the other point, and then we divide by 2. That's why we have the half here. So basically that's it for midpoints. There are other examples here you could solve. You could pause the video and then try them. They are easy. The answers are down here. And then solving more questions really helps. So you have to solve them and then make so that another reason why we solve more questions is as we solve, we find mistakes and we find errors and the wrong procedures that we learn from, so that in exam we we make sure we don't repeat those ones, right? Because when we get it wrong, we definitely keep that in mind, so next time we really repeat that. There's another question here, example 6. Example 6 has triangle ABC. Then it wants you to prove for the midpoint BC we can calculate because we have B, which is this, and then we have C right here. So we can just add them and then half them to get ABC. But what of the finding showing that the triangle ABC is isosceles? How do we show that a triangle is isosceles? So first of all, what's an isosceles triangle? An isosceles triangle is a triangle that has two sides being equal. That means that a triangle has 3 sides, but this triangle has only 2 of its sides being equal. So 2 will be equal and then 1 will be just different. So it means the magnitude of 2 sides of this triangle are the same. So if I can just show that the magnitude of 2 sides of this triangle are the same, then I have proven that this triangle is isosceles. So how do I prove it? I'll just find the magnitude of AB because the triangle is A, B, C. So A, B, C. Right, ABC. I'll find the magnitude of AC. So I'll find the magnitude of CB. And then I'll find the magnitude of AB. It has just 3 lines. So find the magnitude of all these 3 lines, right? And then when we are done, 2 of these should be equal. So when you find the magnitude of AC from what we've learned earlier, we know how to find the magnitude of a line. So we're going to get 5 square root of 5. When you find the magnitude of AB, you're going to get 5 square root of 5. And that of CB is square root of 10. So since these two are the same, and then this is the only different one, it means that this triangle is isosceles. So therefore, since, right, so in the end, if you want to like provide your answer, you provide this way. Therefore, so since 2 sides of triangle ABC have same magnitude, comma, the triangle is isosceles. Wait, is that how to spell isosceles? God damn. Shadam. What is isosceles? Yes, we are right. Isosceles. Perfect. So that's it for midpoint. There are more examples. You should try your hands on them. And then, piao, I'm out of here.